Well,
Cool.
welcome everyone, and hello, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Maggie Ibrahim Taney. I'm the program director for the College of Arts and Science, and I'm joined by my great colleague, program manager for constituent engagement and liaison to UC Wine Club, UnCorked, Lauren Breedy, which a lot of you know on this call. We helped plan tonight's program. Just a few housekeeping items. I know we've been doing these virtual for a year, but kind of keep your mics muted so we can hear our speakers. Thank you guys so much for having your cameras on. We'll be recording this so you guys can review it later as well, and it'll be sent in a follow-up email. Following the tasting, we'll do a Q&A. So if anything occurs to you and you don't want to forget, you can put it in the chat, and Lauren and I will be monitoring that to make sure that it gets asked. Before we turn it over to Revel, I just want to share a quick message from our Vice President of Alumni and Donor Experience, Jen Heisey.
Welcome to today's program, one of many offered by your UC Alumni Association. Before we begin, it's important for me to say thank you for joining us. By actively participating in our offerings and experiences, you are harnessing the power of your alumni network. There are Bearcats all over the world, more than 315,000 alumni in 127 countries, which makes virtual programs like this so rewarding. These challenging times do come with a silver lining. We are more connected than ever before, creating boundless opportunities. The University of Cincinnati and each of you is stronger and better positioned because of our lifelong connections through our alma mater. We love providing opportunities like this one, where alumni can learn, network, and give back. So settle in and enjoy today's program. And if you like what you hear today, please share it on social media using the hashtag #ThyLoyalChildren. Thanks again for joining us. Go Bearcats.
Great. So that's it. If you guys want to take over, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about Revel, and we can get started.
Sure. So we have to follow that up. Are you telling me? Okay. that was very well said.
I was going to say, my son is in the College of Business at UC, so yes, please get.
Yes. So my name's Anthony Myron. I am one of the owners here at Revel. This started in my garage with my dad, and we'll get into the backstory. But that's I'll kick it over to JC.
JC, one of the owners here at Revel, and this guy tricked me into making wine back in 2004.
Yeah, 17 years ago. And then we looped this guy in.
Yep, and I'm Alex Senna, and I'm the master winemaker here at Revel.
So if you're not familiar with Revel, Revel is an urban winery. So essentially that we source our fruit from growers, mainly in Washington, California, and even Chile. So we were crushing Carmenere in our basement just last night till 1 a.m. It was awesome. But we bring in, with today's logistics, you can just get some great fruit, and we'll work with growers. And if they have a good harvest and they're just like, yeah, this is a great grape, we'll probably make that wine. So kind of laying out what wines we like and what we're always interested in want to make. We actually make a Barbera. I'm a big Barbera fan, and we have a lot of fun with it. But we bring it all into downtown Cincinnati, in over the Rhine, in this old 1885 building that we bought a few years ago. It was all boarded up. Lady was living on the second floor with a bunch of cats, and that was pretty much
it. I really did not think this was going to be a winery, and, even of the urban sense.
Yes, when there's a will, there's a way. So we started with the Sangiovese, which you guys will try tonight. That's our flagship, and then we'll have the Blanc, and we have the Rosé, which is nice. When I was talking to Maggie, I think normally we'll do a different wine, and I was like, our Rosé is a little bit different. It's got a nice little zest to it. It's a little dry Rosé that people have really been digging. She's like, yeah, it's gonna be summertime. Let's throw the Rosé in there. So yeah, enjoy. We'll talk a little bit about. Give you some tips. Keep it definitely interactive. If you have any questions, etc., feel free to ask. We have a smaller group, so we can do that kind of stuff. But I'm going to kick it over to Alex. Alex is our master winemaker. Alex is the nephew of one of my clients. Came up in a lunch conversation when we started writing the business plan for Rebel, and is definitely one of the top winemakers here in Ohio. So I'll give it. How's that for a stage?
Yeah, I know. Wow.
You got to fulfill.
I know.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from there.
So,
He just
so
falls apart.
we're just gonna start off by drinking.
Yes.
So
There you go.
we're gonna hop right into the Black Sheep Blanc. So this is actually the first white wine we ever made here at Revel. Really, our bread and butter is making dry red wines. But we just since we've been getting established, we want to expand our offerings. So this is a blend of Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Gris out of Columbia Valley, Washington, and we just age it for a brief amount of time and try to release it just super fresh and crisp. So you're having the 2020 vintage here, and what I like to do when I'm tasting wine for the first time is to pour a smaller glass so you got some room to kind of aerate it. Now, the more experienced drinkers can do that without sloshing it everywhere, but I get a little messy, so I pour a little bit in.
I have a hard time pouring small wine.
It's true, he
That's
does.
the other problem.
But, I like to really get that wine aerated, and I just do that at first when I'm really getting to know the wine for the first time, not necessarily before every drink. But, the Sauvignon Blanc in here is going to bring you some citrus notes, and then the Pinot Gris is going to bring in a little bit more floral and some melon notes, but really crisp on the palate. So everybody just kind of give it a swirl, take a sniff, and take a sip. Now, you may have seen that guy at the end of the bar before that gargles his wine. You don't necessarily want to be that guy.
You don't have to be.
Yeah, but there are merits to that, because really we sense different components of the wine in different parts of our tongue. So acid, you're going to feel this one a little bit more on the sides and tip of your tongue, and that's the acidity. Whereas when we get to the Sangiovese or a nice dry red, you're going to feel tannins more towards the back of your tongue, and that's especially useful when we're trying new wines to kind of understand what about this wine are we digging, right? And like when Anthony said Barbera, that's a really interesting wine because it's very dark and smells very hearty, but it's very light in tannins and high in acid. So that's where it's just kind of useful to understand how your palate's responding to that wine. So what are you guys thinking of the Blanc so far?
We love it. That is a very nice, crisp flavor, and it really is so light. I really, really like it.
Awesome.
Good. It was funny because we historically just made dry reds.
Yeah.
And we started working with a lot of growers, actually here in Ohio, that just didn't have a license to make wine. And there was a guy out in Anderson, and he was growing some Vidal
Blanc.
Vidal, and had Vidal Blanc, and we blended it with Pinot Grigio, and just did awesome. We're like, we probably should make a white wine.
Yeah.
And we kind of started. We call this our patio pounder because it just all day long. It's light, it's crisp. You could just you don't necessarily need food with it. You can just drink it all day long.
But
So I
we
enjoy
do
it.
like food.
But yeah.
Yeah, and one of the ideas here was we didn't want it to be overly fruity. I absolutely love Sauvignon Blancs. So I think like New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is one of the greatest summer wines out there, right? Super crisp. Now, we wanted to make a wine that was a little more, I think, versatile and kind of year-round, that would drink a little bit better in the wintertime. So that's kind of how we wanted to temper the Sauvignon Blanc character with Pinot Gris, which, can be light as Pinot Grigio, but it's the same grape as Pinot Gris that's grown in, say, Alsace or Oregon, where it can be much more textured and kind of complex. So that's kind of where we didn't want to lean too heavy on like really fruity aromatics. We wanted some good stuff there, but we wanted to have this nice balance of a textured wine that still drinks light, but does still have some nice fruit notes.
And just one thing we always like to touch on too is, and we'll talk a little bit about food pairings, but just with white wines, just the temperature where you should kind of serve it. Like red wine is always like 58 degrees, and then white wine is kind of like, you don't know. And if it's served too cold, you lose a lot of the flavor profiles of that, right? And so a lot of times people put just white wines in the refrigerator and then just go drink straight from there. It's like too cold. You want to let it. A good best practice is let that white sit out a little bit longer, bring the temperature up, and you're going to get a lot of the floral aromas.
The aromatics will be
the aromatics are going to come through. So ideal temperature was at 40.
I like 40 to 45, kind of in that range. And it really depends where I'm drinking it. You know, if I'm sitting inside in the air conditioning, 45 is great for me. If I'm outside and it's blazing hot, if I'm on the patio pounding wine, I want it at 38 degrees.
They do make these things called ice buckets.
I've heard of those, but then you got to put the wine back down.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't your vessel.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little fun fact though, with the two wines that we are trying, you can get these on tap at the new FC Stadium. And they asked if we could put it in a can for them. And we're like, well, like 12-ounce can? They're like, yeah, 12-ounce can. I'm like, well, that's a half bottle. So they're like, and the problem is?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. They're like, soccer fans like to sit in their seats and not have to get up that often,
goals,
and miss a goal. So you can get a half bottle in a can of the first two wines that we're trying at the new TQL Stadium. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. But that is one of those things you grab and go.
Yeah. We have a solution for the ice bucket. We have an ice stick.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now does yours have the spout on it also so you can pour and it stays cool?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Oh yeah. There it is. I see. Those are awesome. We had those when we first started out here. I think the staff just takes them home. They're like, "Oh, these are cool toys. Let me try it out."
I think a lot of times it's customers too are like, "This is so cool, and it fits in my purse."
Yeah. Wait, can you put that back up again? I just want to see if that was one of ours. There, Robert.
He looks familiar.
Weren't you here Tuesday?
I was here this morning, but I was also down at the Memorial Hall when you guys were pouring wine, and I was pounding it down. To be honest, yes, it made the concert really enjoyable.
Oh, very cool.
And you know what? Those are nice. We were having a discussion with someone about that, and just community events in general. So now they've moved that, memo, right? They moved it outside to the patio, so it's a totally free event, and then you can buy any drink at the bar, and they give you a little ticket, and then you bring it over to us, and then we pour you a sample of our wine. So it's kind of cool to get free music and free wine tasting. And, by buying a couple of drinks. So
that's the 3CDC Jazz at Washington Park.
Yeah.
Gail, you had your hand up. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. When you guys talk about blending wine, are you literally sitting there with a juice of two wines going this way? I mean, how does that actually work?
Absolutely. And there's, there's no shortcuts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
you have to watch yourself. You get really drunk.
Yeah. So. And we've learned over time that there are certain grapes that just don't play well together. That they really clash and blends. And we always start with this sort of stylistic goal in mind. So that helps us kind of narrow down our candidates. But yeah, we start with kind of broad blends where we'll say, hey, here's a 50-50, 75-25 this way, 75-25 the other. And we see where we're at, and then we start to kind of go in between and make sure, this one here is 56% Sauvignon Blanc, 44% Pinot Gris. So that'll tell you exactly how precise we will be.
Yeah.
Because it can make a huge, and it's often where it makes the biggest impact is really just on your palate and
Yeah.
the way it drinks, not so much flavor and aroma, but it's just the drinking experience on your palate. And that's
Yeah.
crucial for us. We want you to really be wanting to take that next drink, not too dry, not too sweet. So that's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, that actually, the next wine we have is the rosé, and that one, I think we spent 6 weeks trying to get that one
Oh,
together,
boy.
and it came down to the 2% Pinot Gris and the rosé, and that was it. I mean, it's just that
changed.
silly that changed the whole flavor
Yeah.
profile.
Yeah. So when you start talking about these percentages, is this, and forgive me, I don't exactly know how to, is it by weight, by volume, by ounces? How do you measure that?
I do it by volume. So I'll just have a graduated cylinder, and basically because my math is so rusty, I can only make blends in 100 milliliter batches. So that way, it's very easy for me to figure out the percentages. And but yeah, that's what we'll do. And a lot of times, we'll start by all of us will just start playing with our own blend and see what we like. And I mean, a lot of times before I take anything to these guys and we'll do our blend shots together, I'm trying a lot in the cellar, just preliminary tastes, to see how things are going to go. And I mean, there's been times that we've had to blend in a third grape into a blend that we weren't expecting, but we just weren't happy with. It wasn't kind of up to snuff, if you will. So
The fun part is then taking that from 100 milliliters and then to gallons that are inside the barrels, and then he's got to watch gallons and then do his math. That's really fun.
yeah,
to watch
that does get a little tricky.
So Gail, I saw you had a question for us.
Yeah. So and it backs onto the other question as well. So where do you age? Do you age the wine on premises? Do you use stainless and wood? Do you use wood for the red? Is it stainless for the white? And do you ferment the juice before you blend or after?
So
Awesome question.
I love these questions.
Absolutely. And we are 100% oak on our reds. And even the reds that we do where we like a more, we just like a super clean kind of grape profile, like our Carmenere, for instance. We didn't want really an oak impact flavor and aroma wise. We really just wanted the oxygen that comes through the barrel to develop that wine and sort of mature it. So we'll use really old barrels.
American oak or French oak?
A mixture of both. We're mostly American oak, and to be honest, French oak's just so costly that's stuff we got to pass on to our customers. We happen to be very, very close to a great cooperage right in Louisville. I mean, Anthony, you've been using that cooperage for probably 10 years.
10 years, Kelvin Cooperage.
Yeah, and so we got access to great barrels that are close by, and that's important for us to kind of, I mean, from a sustainability standpoint, shipping an empty oak barrel across the pond here just seems silly, right? But we do use French oak. We buy it from other wineries, so that way we can kind of get a good deal. And we've even taken some French barrels to be recouped here in the States, where they'll open them up, shave them down, retoast them. I got 2 down there that I did that years ago, and they're 2 of my favorite barrels because they basically act like a new barrel, a new French barrel. But yeah, we use a good mix.
And the stainless is mostly for
The white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We do mess around with the oak. We do have oak from Minnesota, which has a little tighter grain, and then we have oak from Kentucky, and then oak from South Carolina, right? So just depending on what the varietal is that we want to put in those barrels and how fast he wants to get this thing aged and, to you, we would decide on what barrels to use for that.
And we do, to answer your question, also, Gail, is that we do everything here. So the trucks show up here with the full bushels of grapes, and we crush in our back alley. We take it down our old freight elevator, and we ferment for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
These big vats, and that's when the fermentation process is going. We do we call it punch downs. It's like 3 times a day where you're just taking the skins and you're just keeping the fermentation process going. And then after about a week, it's time to press. We'll press on site, and then we'll go straight to the barrel.
Yeah,
And then we bottle here.
Yep, and the biggest difference between red and white production there is really just with the reds, it's so important to have the skins in that fermentation. In fact, some of the first wine I ever made was at home, and it was with juice, fresh pressed juice that I would buy. And it just you never got that body. You gotta have the skins for that. And just a good way to kind of illustrate how important they are. There's crystal clear champagnes out there made from 100% Pinot Noir. And there's nothing about the taste or aroma that would remind you of a dry red Pinot Noir. So that just kind of shows you that all those characters in a dry red Pinot Noir that we like are coming from the skins themselves. Now, a white wine, bring the grapes in, squeeze the juice off them right away, and then you're just fermenting the juice. So you're getting something much more kind of crisp and clean.
Speaking of juice,
do you do the blending with the fermented juice or before?
No, with fermented. And really it's just so dang hard sometimes to get an idea of where they're gonna be after fermentation. That's really when you set your quality, is in that couple week period. And it's really interesting because wine could be aged for 2 years, but those 2 weeks of fermentation are the most critical for establishing the quality.
So you guys do open vat fermentation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Except for the whites.
Okay. So here's a question, and it's going to sound odd. Do you clean your cellars, or are you using ambient yeast that makes it special over the Rhine wine?
I wish the answer was yes to that.
So I have one wine in that cellar that was fermented with cellar yeast. And it just so happens I bought these grapes because I wasn't willing to risk their money on this project. I bought about a quarter ton. I mean, that's 500 pounds of Catawba grapes, which were pretty inexpensive. And we were using these for another collaboration project with a local brewery. I'm very interested in making a dry sparkling Catawba. And so I did a native fermentation for my base wine. I even fermented with skins and seeds for a short, and stems for a short time. So I took damn near every gamble I could with it. And but yeah, other than that, we use Enological Yeast. So these are yeasts that have basically, now they were isolated in vineyards all over the world. Our favorite yeast is from Rhone Valley.
R2D2.
And yeah, that's right. And this was a yeast that was just sort of identified in a cellar vineyard, many years ago, and is now sort of cultivated commercially. And we buy it freeze dried. And yeah, we do all open top fermentations on our reds.
It's the only thing we do. We don't add anything to our wines. You won't. The only thing that you're going to get is a little bit of sulfite to kill the wild yeast, to add the more controlled yeast in there. But there's nothing else that's added. So a lot of people ask us if our wine's natural. We usually say it's like you say it's vegan, right? Because there's a lot of things that people will add to wines, like fish bladder, to add clarity to white wines. And
as the vegetarian in the group, I had to say hell no to that.
Yeah, and it's nice to always be able to say that. Our staff gets to can confidently say to every customer, yes, our wines are vegan.
Yeah. So
how did the Catawba turn out when you did it with the seeds, the skins, and the stem? So was it grappa at the end, or
no? And I pressed it after a few days. I wanted to pick up some of the color and character from those skins just to see what would happen. And I tell you, it's got this really, really cool bronze, like copper color. So I like it. It's a very distinct character that Catawba has. And I think I kind of doubled down on that by keeping it on the skins, even for a short time. So most likely next year, I'll at least do a big portion of that just direct press, because there's a few people I've tried it with that are like, oh, whoa, this is really wild and cool, and there's some people that are like, not for me. Now I have yet to do the. I'm going to bottle ferment these to make them sparkling, a true champagne method.
Yeah.
And I have not done that yet.
So we have a couple questions too before we go into the rosé. Nancy asked, how many different reds, whites, and rosés do we make?
We have 8 varietals right now. So we have 1 white, we have 1 rosé.
Well, we have
then-
1 white, but we have 2. We have a Chardonnay and a Gruner coming out here pretty soon. So we'll have 3 whites.
Yeah, they're hiding. They're
very soon.
They're still sleeping.
Oh, the Gruner Veltliner is very close to coming out.
We got that fruit, actually Ohio grown from the Ohio State Research Vineyards. Awesome fruit that we were able to make a great Gruner with.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the reds, we have the Malbec, we have the Sangiovese, which will have our Cab, and our Barbera and Carmenere, so that's 5. And then we have a Cab Franc coming in the Montepulciano.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we have a red blend.
It's growing.
Also in that, in the Black Sheep line, there's a red blend of this, the Rouge.
Like forgetting our children.
Oh, I know. It is. We have so many kids, sometimes you forget their names. You go, come here, bottle.
And we have one more we need to add this fall because my dad asked me how the Zinfandel is doing all the time. I'm like, that's the only wine I don't make. He's like, that's right. I don't have many years left. I'm like, I guess we're making a Zinfandel.
Yeah, it's happening this year.
Yeah. But, yeah,
No,
so
we didn't really talk about any food pairings on the wine, though. I thought somebody might have mentioned that, or was that in the questions? Or I'm not sure.
We'll get back to some of the other
and
questions,
just
but
to
we should talk
stay
a little
on,
bit about-
and I want to make sure we stay within your guys' time too, in case any of you got to go. So we're gonna talk food pairings. We're gonna introduce you to the rosé, and then we'll field some more questions.
Yep. You drinking or dumping?
So Anthony, what's some of your favorite with the Blanc?
I used to say Chilean sea bass, and then I sold it for $30 a pound at Finley Market. I was like, who am I to say Chilean sea bass?
Let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake, right? So I was like, maybe I should come up with something else. And I would say anything that's really buttery. I really like this. That's going to be your soft cheeses. I think some of you guys that picked up the wine today asked. I was like, a brie is going to be really good with this. But anything that has a lot of like a buttery, garlicky type sauce, I just freaking love.
I did so Anthony and I still have like day jobs and all kind of fun stuff. So this is always fun to take off one hat, put on another hat. And I had a virtual tasting last night for a small group of my peers, and that was a big question on like, what do I eat with all this wine? And one of the ladies actually baked her own brie.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, you win. So, and it's nice to, when you're doing like a really acidic wine, something fatty like that's great. Vegetarian wise, I do cheese as well, but I can't never have like the ceviches and the fun stuff, right? So a lot of times I go for really richly seasoned portobellos, things of that nature, like mushrooms are always really good. And you can have those like warm or cold, which is kind of nice depending on, where you're dealing with it. But that topped with a little Parmesan cheese, works out well. And we actually use our Sauvignon Blanc or the Blanc inside of one of our recipes here at Rebel for our mushrooms.
The Crostini.
Yeah, on the Crostini. So
What's yours?
I'm mussels all the way. Just a little bit of wine and butter in the sauce, some herbs, and just a few ingredients, really good ingredients, and just keep it simple. But your baked brie idea, man, I did see this once in like a magazine where somebody put like walnuts and honey on a baked brie, and that just sounds like it'd go awesome with this. So somebody please try it and tell us how it is.
Exactly.
we need to cook more.
Rosé. Yeah, let's go on to the rosé.
What's going on?
We have recently come across a cheese that's a soft cheese that's German called Cork. Quark. It's denser than ricotta. It's more tart than Philadelphia cream cheese kind of stuff. And we're having it tonight, and I put a little honey and black pepper on it.
Oh, wow.
And it comes from Urban Stead.
Urban Stead?
Yes. I think we've had
Oh
that.
my gosh, they make their street cheddar, their cheddar.
Mhm.
I mean, it is really good. And actually, we partnered with them for a Valentine's Day virtual tasting this year. And I had the pleasure of getting to go out there and taste our wines with their cheeses, which of course I milked for like 4 hours.
Tough job.
I know. But he was working on, he called it like an Alpine cheese or something, but it was, I was telling him about our Gruner Veltliner. I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to get together when my Gruner comes out and see. But cheese and wine pairings are, in my opinion, the most fun. Because you can just try so many different, you make a great charcuterie board, and you can try all these different things.
Yep. Agreed.
So into the rosé, Black Sheep Rosé. So this is, I think we're at, 60% Syrah, 38 Cabernet Sauvignon?
60, 38, and 2.
And 2% Pinot Gris. So what we do is, the typical rosé production is you'll crush the grapes and let them spend time with the skins to pick up that color, and then you'll press them. Now, this is our second vintage of rosé, and this year we were trying to make something with just a little more meat on its bones so it could stand up to a broader range of food. I love rosé with pork dishes. So I wanted this to be able to stand up to barbecue pork. And so you will notice this one's got a little bit more color. It kind of would remind you a little bit more of like a Tavel rosé, which is from southern France. Not necessarily Provence styles, really, really pale. Something like Tavel where they're going to spend a little bit more time on the skins and give that wine a little more texture. So that was the approach we took. I get a lot of nice, watermelon and just like tart sherbet. Yeah, just like pale pink fruit. And that watermelon kind of comes through. Anthony, you always talk about the finish. It's your favorite part.
Yeah. It just has a nice zesty finish, and which typically wants me to get another glass. So we just didn't want to make a very bubble gummy rosé. Yeah. We felt like the market was a little flooded with those. So, and we knew that FC wanted it in a can, and we really wanted to surprise people when they actually had a really good rosé in a can. So we had that nice little dry finish. I could drink this definitely all day.
Or all night. Yeah,
right.
that's
all night.
Yeah, we have a running joke with that.
Yes.
One. But the rosé is a hesitation wine, right? Most people get to it and they're like, is it sweet? I don't want that. Everyone kind of hesitates on rosé. We have a very young clientele in OTR. So the millennials that we're training to drink wine, kind of that next generation of wine drinkers. I affectionately call you guys, you're the winos, right? You know what you like, you've been doing it. You don't need much guiding around the menus. You can pronounce everything in Italian or French. But these kids, they have no idea. And so we put numbers by the wine just so that they can just give me the 14 and it's okay, right? We really want to make sure that wine's very approachable. But rosé, my goodness, has been just jumping off shelves because somebody made a t-shirt or somebody had a meme. I don't know, but they love rosé. So we were like, let's give them something that is going to be a little different than the sugary bubblegummy rosés that they've had in the past.
What do you guys think?
Awesome. Okay. So I see the question, how long from grape to bottle that we're drinking now? So this is a 2020 vintage as well. So we would have gotten these grapes in October of 2020. And, so we're talking pretty brief aging that we do in stainless. And then, we bottled, I want to say we bottled like right at the end of April.
For the rosé.
So this guy's really fresh now. And whereas when we get to the Sangiovese, that's a 2018 vintage. So, we're looking at about just under 3 years for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the barrel tastings are fun. Usually it's Alex. We can always tell when he's done a barrel tasting because we have to get him an Uber. Or his wife will come grab him. So, I kid him. He's not really an alcoholic. He just drinks every day. But no, I don't know. There's a fine line. But no, the barrel tasting, this guy's tasting everything. And he's like, I think it's getting close. And then we get all these samples and we're like, it tastes great right now. And he's like, no, it's not ready yet. And it's 2 more months. I'm like, okay. But that's the art part of it, right? I mean, all the science part happens in the beginning with, you know, the pH and the titrates and the bricks and all, you know, everything else. And he's down here like, you know, the mad scientist. And then it gets to be the artist when it's time to like say, here it is, it's ready, that's it. So,
Yep.
I love this.
all right.
Awesome.
Oh, good.
I mean, I'm gonna say I've been drinking rosés since before they were cool. I was on the upslope of the rosé stand.
Did you ever drink Matisse Rosé?
Matisse?
From years ago. I mean, Sterling Winery in Napa used to make a very pale rosé from Cabernet, 100% Cabernet rosé. And that was my, you know, breaking my eye teeth when I was a youngster.
You remember back that far.
So
I love it.
I like this. It's really pretty. It's a beautiful color. I love it's dry. I think you could drink this with anything. I really like it. I like it better than white.
That's awesome. That's
Thank you.
so awesome to
That's
hear.
good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It is weird that, you know, you can make all of these, you know, rosés from, you know, you can number of grapes, right? Some work better than others, to be honest, right? We had on our wine list, we carry other wines as well. Winemakers that have the kind of same story as us, or maybe the same expression as us. But we had this Pinot Noir rosé, Stoller, and it was delicious. I think I might have drank most of the cases here.
You did.
You know, okay, yeah.
There's no
They-
thinking behind
They
it.
actually hit a bottle from me, and it
You
was like
found it.
a few months later.
See,
Alex,
I hit it for him. But kind of both are true, actually.
But
From
it's-
him, but for him.
yeah, you know, it was just one of those, you know, rosés. We had that on before we actually were making our own rosés.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever we do with rosé, I wanted to be kind of that style. And that, you know, that was a 100% Pinot Noir rosé
Yep.
that you can get around town and anywhere. But this is like as close as I've tasted anyone else's, if you will, regionally on the rosés.
Yeah, and you know, the areas where you can kind of play around is it's the varietal you choose or the length of skin contact that you put on there. And that's one of the cool things about rosé is it's one of those things where winemakers really put their stamp on it. You know, when it comes to like you're making a Cabernet Sauvignon, you're not going to get too wild about it. You know people are going to expect full body and richness, right? So you're not necessarily going to press it 4 days early. But with rosé, I think it's one of these areas where winemakers get really creative, and there can be a pretty cool range. We had a really fun rosé from Spain last year that was really soft and delicate, even though it wasn't sweet. But then we'd also have a Provence rosé that is just like laser acid.
Was that the
And super
Grenache one,
crisp.
the Spanish one?
It was, yes.
Okay. Which a lot of underrated fruit in
Oh
Spain.
man, I think Grenache can make some amazing rosé. I've had some sparkling Grenache rosé that was just out of sight.
I've never been able to drink many rosés. I have to say this is outstanding.
That's
And
awesome.
I don't feel my face going from the additives.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is terrific.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate the mention of Matisse because during college days, that was our step up after Boone's Farm.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. That's where I'm coming from. Boone's Farm, Apple Wine, and then Matisse.
Rock on.
Horrible.
Myers,
We were on the line at the same time.
Myers, yeah.
Myers Sweet Sauterne with 7-Up.
Oh,
my
goodness.
goodness.
It's like in the Kenai days or something.
I love it. Oh man.
Please, I'm eating.
Somebody asked about if we do public grape pressing and crushing. So yes,
Well,
we do,
now-
definitely when we do the grape crushing, because we do it in the back alley. we typically try to do it when we're open, and then we advertise it for people to check out the process. We love that, and we're literally it's pitchfork into the distemmer, and the distemmer is crushing the grapes, but it's spitting out the stem, because you don't want the stem. It just takes a volume and makes the makes things really bitter. Mm-hmm. So, but we always encourage people to check out that process, and then we did invite a few people down. We were closed, but we typically will invite people down to the pressing, mm-hmm. and we now do it because we've been able to create a little more space in our winery. Yeah, it gets a little tight down there. This is a very narrow building, so but yeah.
As we especially as we open up, by the time we get to fall crush later this year, everything will be kind of have lifted as far as mandates and all that, and we can kind of invite people back down to hang out, and people are a little more comfortable later on. I'm assuming everything goes well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a really good time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fingers crossed. Give me a crucifix, give me something. We will take anything we can. But the one thing about the crush parties that's like really cool is that most of us who, like Anthony and his dad, introduced me into this whole wine thing, right? My experience with wine was not quite as cool as you guys with the, mine was Mad Dog 2020, right? I mean, yeah,
you were still on that.
I was still on that, but no, it was, it was interesting to see like this grape, and then like this crushing and this pressing and this barrel aging and this time, and then all of a sudden this bottle. And so a lot of people that come in here on the Saturdays or the Thursdays get to see that part of it. Like, no, see these grapes here, that's what you're drinking. It's just needs about 2 years. So
and that's what I loved. Like when I started getting into wine. I mean, my dad taught me when I was 6 years old, and it was just in my garage growing up. My parents are from Italy. My dad's from the house of Italy. My mom's from Naples, and they met in Philly, and my dad took a job in Kokomo, Indiana. If you guys know where Kokomo, Indiana is, it's an hour north of Indianapolis. The guy he worked with, and when he was working in Philadelphia, he's like, Joe, you moved to Kokomo, Indiana. You'll live like a king. The cost of living was so cheap. And my dad came from the country of Italy, and he wanted land. So not only were first generation Italians, but we're also in the country of Kokomo, Indiana. So, and my mom cooked like Napolitan dishes, which was like squid, not something you normally get in Kokomo. And my dad made wine in the garage, and I loved it. And it was just watching that process of picking the grapes, and he would have all his friends over, and they would just tell stories and jokes, and I'm like, I love this energy. And I got moved out to Portland, Oregon. Went to college in Indiana. Moved out to Portland, Oregon. Got picked up in the .com boom, if you will, and started falling in love with like the Pinot Noirs. Willamette Valley is just south of the city, and about 8 years there, I decided to just move back to the Midwest, close to my parents. I felt like they didn't really know me as an adult, and I was like, I want to go take them to a game. I wanted to. My dad went to St. Joe in Philadelphia. And you'll love this because he hates Xavier. And I'm like, we're going to a Xavier St. Joe game, right? And we're going to be the only fools in the whole place wearing red. And that was it. We were the only ones. Yeah, doing the hawk, and loved it. And I was like, that's why I moved to Cincinnati, was to have this great experience. And, my dad was just like, hey, do you want to take over the wine making, because I'm just getting too old to do it. And I was like, just me and you? And he's like, oh, no, hell no. Like, you and I can't do all this. It's like, you're going to have to recruit some friends. So John and I were working together, and asked him when it was during the week. My dad was coming in that week, and I'm like, you want to make wine with this week? And my dad's coming to town. Yeah. And you're like,
and I said, hell yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, let's do this.
No idea what I was signing up for.
No. And our first year, we made hooch. It was 18% Concord, picked from Michigan.
Yeah.
My dad added sugar to it. Like, it was all this stuff that I was like, oh, this is how you make wine? I don't remember this.
I was close. It was Mad Dog 2020. It was Myron 2020.
John looked at me when I had the hydrometer, and I'm like, this is coming in like hot. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, it's dawning on me. My dad's been making hooch all these years. I had no idea.
That's why he only has a couple glasses.
Yeah, my dad's like, I don't see a problem with any of this.
I mean, that's why it had X's on all the bottles. 3 X's.
Yeah, what made it even worse was like when it came to bottle, like we're like, all right, it's ready. And my dad's like, all right, I'm going to come to Cincinnati. I'm going to bring your mom. I'm going to do a whole like Italian dinner. I got bottles for you, so don't go out and buy and waste all your money on bottles. He shows up with 1-gallon jugs that said Ultra Wine on the outside.
Straight from the church.
Straight from the church. Like he was at church and he was like, what are you doing with all those 1-gallon? And they're like, we're going to take them out of the trash. My dad's like, my son will take them. And I'm like, wow, this really is hooch. Like it's going to say Ultra Wine on everyone. And JC looks at me. He's like, are we really putting the wine in these 1-gallon jugs that say Ultra Wine? I said, when my dad leaves, once he leaves, we're going to put in the bottles. So
it was straight up blessed wine. It was,
yes. And the funniest thing was when our friends knew that we made wine at work. They're like, it was around Christmas. They're like, you should bring your wine to the holiday party. And we're like, well, how much bread do you have?
Because you're going to eat a full meal.
Is this Thanksgiving meal? I'm like, because you're going to have to eat a lot, right? And you see people like they just fill it up right to the very rim, and you're like, "Wow, you're gonna be drunk later."
You're not gonna make it.
So, so after we were just like, you know what, we just need to tweak the recipe, and every year we change something, you know. Yeah. And we got about year 6, we got to a point where we're making a pretty good wine. We got some grapes from Kentucky, Steuben.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like tastes like a little bit like a Chianti or like Sangiovese, which you're gonna be trying next. And I gave a bottle to a guy we worked with. And he was a big connoisseur, and I was like, what do you think? What's your unfiltered feedback? What do you think of our wine? And came back the next day. He said, best homemade wine I ever had. I'm like, that's awesome. You said homemade. So I was like, what's that mean? He's like, you're not really using vinifera grapes. And I'm like, what's vinifera? And he's like, how do you winemaker not know what vinifera is? I'm like, I learned in a garage. Like, I don't know what vinifera is. And he's like, that's going to be grapes from like Europe that have the very similar terroir that you can uproot those vines, plant them in like Washington or California, and it'll grow really well. And he's like, you know what? Just go get those grapes. Get them Merlot. He's like, ever since the movie Sideways came out, nobody's buying Merlot. He's like, Pinot Noir went through the roof. He's like, Merlot went down. These farmers would love to give you their fruit. And we started Merlot, and
that was it.
It was it. It turned out awesome, and we kind of felt like winemakers at that point.
It smelled like wine when we picked it up. And we were like, "Oh, that's the key.
Well, that's
what we've been missing."
That's what we learned. You get the good fruit, you're gonna make good wine, and then how it basically blossomed was the hobby just took off. We just started, bringing in grapes from California, and got up too big to the point where my wife was basically, you got to move all this stuff out of the house because I can't get the paper towels.
That literally spawned. It was New Year's Eve 2015, and we were all sitting around after everybody left. And, most great ideas happen when you're drinking. Nothing ever. It's like we were eating salad and had this great epiphany.
Nobody says that.
That never happened. So it was definitely, we were drinking wine, and we were like, we need to figure something out. And that was a big move. And, I think we're all over the place now, but
we're on to the Sangiovese.
I was going to say,
nice little segue into the story.
So,
go ahead. Yeah. So, do you want to talk a little bit about Sangiovese?
Sure. Yeah.
Where these guys going?
So, if anybody's not familiar with it by this name, it's wines made from Sangiovese are usually bottled as Chiantis. They have to be made in Tuscany to be called a Chianti. So, this is my absolute favorite wine to make and drink. I think Sangiovese is one of the great. There's a few grapes, in my opinion, that can reach this higher level of complexity, where it's not just all about being robust and full-bodied, and it's like Pinot Noir, Tempranillo, and Sangiovese. So it's a little bit lighter in body compared to say like a Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah, something like that. And that's really just inherent in the grape. It's got a thinner skin, but they can also be very tannic. That means they'll hold up well to super protein-rich dishes, steak, something like that. Or but then also they can be really, really ageable too. So this one, we get the grapes from Horse Heaven Hills in Columbia Valley. So it's this small little growing region within the Columbia Valley. that's known for growing some exceptional red fruit. And you know, the idea for us was to make something that kind of had this rustic kind of old world character, especially on the nose. But then on the palate, we wanted to bring in a little bit more kind of fruit to make it just a more approachable style on the palate. Some of those old world Italian wines I like almost better the day after I opened them, because they really need to loosen up. They can be pretty tight. But yeah, we feel like we kind of really tiptoed the line there between old world, new world style. And yeah, we're just really pleased to share this wine with you. We love it.
Yeah, this is our flagship. This is my dad's favorite wine, and this is the one that you know, we wanted to start with. And you know, we met Alex. As I mentioned, he came up in the lunch conversation, and John. We had no idea how to scale. We were making like 4 barrels, and we had to make like 14 when we wrote the business plan for Rebel. And met Alex, and he had the same methodology. Wanted to do handcrafted. Wanted to work with some really cool varietals, and we felt like Sangiovese would be the great one to start with, because this was true why we got into this the first time.
Yeah. And
you've done a great job with this one. It's as every year we've made the Sangiovese, it's always been great. So
yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Thumbs up.
How many folks
get a steak?
Depends on it. Is this 100% Sangiovese or is it's blended?
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't really add, like, we like our logo, as you probably can see, is the black sheep. The black sheep of my family. I think we're all black sheeps. You know, my mom thinks that means outcast. So she's like, why do you call yourself a black sheep? We love you. I'm like, it means to deviate from the norm, do your own thing. Like, by the way, she sounds like she's been here since the 60s. She looks and sounds
really
like she
close
came over
to what
last
she
Tuesday.
sounds like.
I'm like, Mom, you gotta lose the accent. You've been here way too long to keep that thick accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, she you know, it was this idea of like just being different, and I think most people are like, oh yeah, Chianti. I know Chianti, but they don't know it as a Sangiovese.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what's cool about, you know, our heritage line, which you can see the bottle difference, right? But all the heritage lines are all single varietals. It's 100% that varietal. It's Malbec, it's Sangiovese, it's Barbera, it's Montepulciano, it's, you know, whatever that wine is. And then our black sheep line is the blended line. So
yeah,
it's kind of how we differentiate the two.
Yeah, and
there's like almost umami to this.
Yeah, so we do try to make it savory, and in fact, we've you know, when we first were introducing this and we do the write up, we wanted it to have this very savory kind of character, and I mean, we tell everybody this is like our go-to Thanksgiving wine. You think of like it's not so heavy. You can put this next to some herb roasted turkey, but you just get all that savory stuff playing together. Love it with anything with roasted tomatoes. But it's really cool that you were you know, getting that same thing, because everybody's palate it's so subjective.
Percent.
Or in my case, we do the heavily roasted smoked tofu.
Hey, and but I mean, still roasted tomatoes.
And they clown me all the time. They're like, what are you doing? I've got this smoker. And I'm like, well, I'm smoking tofu right now.
He brings over things to the house, and I'm like, this goes on a grill?
So, well, you know, okay, so this
sure
was
it's not going to melt through the grates?
This was like different this year, or last year was the first time we've ever had a Thanksgiving together. You know, because of the pandemic, we couldn't go see our families, right? We normally say goodbye to each other, and we all go our separate ways. And this past year, we were able to like actually, you know, come together and have Thanksgiving. And it was different because my Thanksgiving and traditions and everything is just different than Anthony's and his wife Jody. But it was hilarious in that we kind of mashed them all together. And we had this like COVID Thanksgiving. And I was like, we ate so much food and we tried. So what I didn't know, you know, this whole Italian thing where you guys are like, there's 14 drinks before dinner starts. It was like we were drinking at noon. I was like, oh, I like this. This is now my new stuff.
And juice glasses.
Straight up juice glasses. We're drinking bubbly.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Nobody can count your drinks when you have a juice glass. Nobody can count your drinks.
It was awesome. Well, yeah, you know, it was like if anything good came out of it, we all got a great appreciation for the fact that we do love hanging out with other people. So as much as we love virtual tastings, I would love for you guys to be here on the second floor, hanging out with us, and you know, really having a ball. But we'll get there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. So you guys consider this?
10 minutes.
Oh, say it again.
Sorry?
I said we can walk over. We could be there in 10 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. You must live close to me.
That's close.
So if you guys consider this your flagship wine, which by the way is, oh my God, delicious. Do you try to blend it to taste the same every year, or do you blend the best of that year?
A little bit of both. I get extremely nervous when it's very different from the prior year. In fact, these guys know that this 2018 vintage was causing me to lose a lot of sleep over the course of its life. And when the fruit came in, you know, the first thing you do is you eat a grape. It's the first thing you do, and you chew on the skins. You know, you spit the seeds out. You look at how ripe they are, and I just wasn't. It didn't do what the grapes did for me the year before, just then. But it aged. What we did was we altered our aging techniques with our barrel program. So the year before, that vintage, the 17 vintage, was a little more ripe. So we used a little more new American oak. We don't use a lot of new oak on this, 40% maximum. But the year that in 17 we used 40% new American oak, and it was able to stand up to that and not get swallowed up by the oak. This year, the wine was just a little more delicate coming out of fermentation. So we basically used, I think 20% new oak was it. Because even though like we knew that oak could maybe add something that we thought, but that's not the way we want the wine to show. We don't want you to taste the barrel. Frankly, the only time we use new oak is when we feel like it can get so integrated into that wine that you can't tell it's even there. Right. So that's kind of how we do sort of both what you're saying. We do want to try to match in blending, but when we're over the course of that wine's life, it's all about make it the absolute best you can. Then when we get into blending, we try to split the difference a little bit. We've done reserves too, where we're like, holy cow, this is so good. Like this one barrel is so good. We're going to hold it back. We'll bottle it by itself, but let's blend this one to kind of match our customers' expectations. You know, we got a lot of accounts that pour these as well. And so that's always a consideration too. Okay. What about some food?
I see all the great questions. Some of the chats here. Just thank you for some of the compliments. Food. So we did. So in 2020,
I need a steak.
It was. We were at the International Wine Festivals, ready to go. We submitted our cab in for that, and then won silver at the International Wine Festival in a price category of $25 or more. So it was like a tough category. Robert Mondavi's of the world, right? And we did this. We started working with Lissa Steakhouse, which is in Main Strauss, Covington, and everything. The lights went out because of COVID, and we kept the dinner pairing. Like people bought tickets and things like that, and we matched all of our wines with their food, and they brought out a steak.
The 5-course.
Yeah, with Sangiovese.
Right? I think with our cab actually, because there was the medal winner.
Yes. This one. So I'm gonna say
It was 5 courses. I can't remember.
I was going to lead into steak because I drink this with steak.
And my courses were different from their courses.
Yeah.
They were really cool. About
I love this with just a good ribeye. I mean, I think that is
absolutely
it stands up. I do like the idea of the ham pork. I think it does really well with it, but
no, and that's what makes it a super versatile red.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Sangiovese's on tables in Italy. You know, a good young Toscano Rosso. You know, that's just a young, Tuscan red is almost always going to be mostly Sangiovese. They're going to be light. You can drink them chilled. You're going to see people sipping those just at lunchtime. But then you got something like Brunello di Montalcino. It's like the king of Italian wines. And that's Sangiovese at its finest.
Yeah.
You know, super ageable. I mean, it can hold up to any meal, any protein-rich dish. So it really is this grape that there's so much potential in there, and you get to really kind of be expressive with it as a winemaker.
Kind of questions. See, prosciutto. Mark said prosciutto. Absolutely. That's a great.
Oh yeah,
that's on our
cheese-wise. Pecorino. Pecorino's amazing.
Yeah.
With this,
I love Manchego.
Manchego.
I do a lot of.
Yeah, that's a sheep's milk too.
Yeah.
Like Manchego. Yeah, sheep's milk cheese with
these are great.
Sangiovese, I think, just works so well.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll do any kind of. Yeah, I'll go any kind of hard cheese with this. Do a lot of crostinis. I usually have a lot of bread with this one. And I'm trying to think. I don't do too many veggies with this one. I really don't.
I love bolognese with this, but I mean, I even think doing a veggie roasted tomato sauce would just really pull out those savory compounds, in this and play well together.
Yeah, maybe like a ziti.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little baked tea. Oh yeah, now I'm getting hungry.
Now, you guys probably obviously noticed that you had 3 full bottles that you get. A lot of times when we do these virtual tastings, people ask if we can, do we have an option where it's smaller bottles? And our answer is like, why? Why would we do that? So the idea is that we would taste these, but also you would, you might have some left over in the bottle that you could have with a dinner, and you can try some of these tasting, these food pairings that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good segue into kind of what do you do after you take the cork out, right?
Yeah.
So preservation, I think, is a great thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Share with you a couple tips. I know for me, bottles don't last too long in my house, but there are a few that do, and I have some of my ideas. So what do you think? What's some of your best practices?
So what we use here at Revel, and this is really one of the kind of easiest, most accessible kind of wine gadgets out there, because you can find them pretty easily. But it's basically a vacuum pump. The reason I like this is because I've gone through quite a few of the really cheap ones that you could get at the grocery store over the years. The seal either doesn't go well, or
a little white.
Yeah, or you lose the pump. The pump is integrated, so each one, has its own pump. Basically, what you're doing is you're leaving less oxygen in that bottle to kind of oxidize that wine. So that can give you a couple more days.
I would say that gives 3, 4.
Yeah.
And it depends on how full the bottle is. If you're down here, you really need to just finish, because that much air in the bottle, it's going to go bad way quicker. I brought a couple gadgets.
I got you. Oh, you got it.
So if there's any serious wine aficionados here, you might have heard of like a Coravin. That's this fancy little guy you actually put right in through the cork, and it pumps argon gas in and dispenses it. Those are a couple $100, and the pain in the butt is, every once in a while you're going to be trying to preserve a bottle of wine, and you're going to run out of your little argon canister. Kind of a pain. I've been using these for a long time, so this is just called Wine Life. Okay, it's canned argon, and basically this is a commercial technique we use in wine cellars. But all you do is you pop the top, have the cork off, put this guy in there. You're dispensing argon into the bottle for, however long, and you do it a little bit longer, the more air is in that bottle you have to displace. Put it back on. If you do it right, there's no air left in that bottle. This can give you a good week before you start to see any deterioration if you do it right. So these guys are handy. Other than that, a trick, if you're a half a bottle wine drink, a great trick is,
we also call them quitters.
Yes, absolutely. But sometimes what happens too is, like, me and my wife do not necessarily like the same types of wine all the time. She doesn't really enjoy red at all. So sometimes, like, I'm opening a red for me, she's opening a white for her. So, and if we finish both those bottles, we're gonna end up breaking them over each other's heads. but so this is just a half bottle, okay, 375 milliliters. If a lot of times you get something like olive oil or vinegar or something like that in it, but if you get something like this, if you're a half a bottle or 2 glass wine drinker, what I do, and I actually gave this trick to my mom because she was dumping out half bottles of my Cabernet Sauvignon all the time. But what she'll do now is she opens a bottle, she fills this one up, puts a temporary stopper in. Now this guy's going to stay good for weeks because there's really no air. Yes, it did get a little aerated while you're dumping it in there, but not enough for this wine to just tank, okay? So that's going to stay good, like, in really good, really fresh. And then drink the rest. Drink those 2 glasses. I think that's just a really simple, practical tip for, if you find yourself trying to preserve wine a lot. The other, like, really cool gadget we've seen past year, there's this carafe that you pour the whole bottle in, and there's this little disc that floats on top. You can pour, like, right from under it, and then when you pour, the disc turns and the wine comes out. When you stand it up, this settles back down and creates this barrier, always at the exact level of that wine. I wish I could remember what the hell that thing's called, but if you go to Artichoke.
Yeah, it's Artichoke.
Yep, which is right here in Cincy.
Right over the Rhine.
Super cool. I mean, any foodie, it's like one of the greatest gift places you can go. But check that thing out because it's a neat little gadget too.
Yeah, I didn't bring it. I didn't bring it. Got it. It's okay.
Mr. Winemaker, I have a question for you and then a suggestion. You
Sure.
have an incredible knowledge. I don't think you got it in the garage.
Oh no, not me. Now I did actually.
The one that's not talking as much is the one that got the knowledge in the garage.
I did actually. I started just hanging out with my uncles made wine.
Yeah.
And they just let me clean the bottles. Like, that was it. That was all I was allowed to do. But when I actually got in this business, it was as a vineyard manager was my first job because I'd kind of grown up in agriculture and horticulture industry, and so that was kind of my end. And it was. And I had even been in some really nice wine regions before, but didn't really have an appreciation for it prior to that. I drink wine that didn't have a label on it. So very similar to the wine that was being served at your house.
Yeah.
And yeah, once I got into the cellar though, and just started, like, I was really into the science aspect and just the craftsmanship that goes into it. And yeah, and I just fell in love. I mean, I just completely immersed myself, and it's been about 11 years.
Yeah, and John and I, we get pushed up to the front of the business, which is just pushing the business forward and figuring out new opportunities for us. And I remember having a conversation with Alex in my kitchen when we wrote the business plan to do something different. We're going to bring an urban winery to Cincinnati. Not going to have TVs. We're not going to have, like, a ton of beers.
No.
It's not chicken wings. It's not going to be very, what you would expect, right? In the over the Rhine, the downtown Cincinnati area. So, I'm like, we're going to market with this black sheep idea. So our Achilles heel is, if you come to our place, you may not think we're taking winemaking seriously. And I know the wine's outstanding, then we have something. And I said, your number one job, don't worry about where the business is going, how we're going to market and our brand. We're going to keep everything intact. Your job is to make great wine, because John and I can't be, we'll help you, but you're the lead. You tell us where to go. I'm like, can you make great wine? And he looks at me right in the eye. He's like, I can, absolutely. And I was like, done. And you have. We've been voted best local winery 4 years in a row. Every year we've been open, we've won best local winery, which is awesome because there's great winemakers in this town. And I think that it's something we hang our hat on because we don't come from the industry. We just know we know
what we like.
What we like, and
we hope people enjoy that too.
And there's a ton of great places around us that if somebody wants a different experience, we'll point them to that, to those wine bars and places like that. We just want to make sure that, we know we're going to have to tell our story, and it's great to stick to our guns. And so when we're doing the virtual tours, that you can hopefully tell that we have a pretty passion for what we do. And we've kind of created our trail here, and it's going to keep on growing. And having the opportunity to talk to an audience like this is great. I know you guys love wine, and hearing our story, having an opportunity to tell you our story is awesome. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
For starters, your story is awesome. And I just have a question. Do you have like charcuteries that you serve that match your wines when people come, or is it pretty much a tasting area?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so we have a small kitchen.
Okay, because this is some of the best wine we've had for us.
Oh, that's so kind.
We came from the wilds of central Pennsylvania 2 years ago, so our world was. So this is real, but seriously, this is really very, very amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and I gotta say, there's, the quality. There has to be commitment for quality across the board. I've worked at quite a few wineries in Southern Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and still do some consulting that we lend our expertise to some other folks getting in. But I tell you, I've worked at places where people will say they're committed to quality until push comes to shove. Until you need to sacrifice sometimes your profit margin a little bit. But the thing is you gotta feel like the customer's worth it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about for us, is we just want to give you the absolute best product we can.
I think you pretty much nailed it with these three at least.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we
gentlemen
here?
Uh-oh.
Talk. I don't know, but somebody went off.
Uh-oh.
All right, sorry, we had to switch laptops.
The beauty of being a bunch of IT nerds is that there's always a spare laptop around. And I'm like, we're gonna need another laptop.
Yeah,
I forgot that chargers. So we're back.
Yeah, sorry.
Can I talk now? All right, gentlemen, I have a challenge for you, particularly about Catawba. I have recently come across information about the last Catawba vineyard in Cincinnati. It was in Hartwell, called Hartwell Heights, and there were two brothers that made the land, and I don't know whether they made sparkling or not, but there's this old wine heritage here I'm sure you're aware of, but that one blew me away, that there was a Catawba vineyard in Hartwell. So don't give up on Catawba.
We won't. And I remember at the jazz night, we were talking about this, and you had brought this up. We need to get you down here. So every Saturday we do this like super cool tour, and you should just pop in and drink wine and talk about like Cincinnati wine history. They would love it. I swear, it would be awesome.
Yeah, Saturdays we're open Wednesday through Sunday. Saturdays during the day is like usually you're going to get either John and I are here usually like giving tours and things like that. So
this guy has to sleep.
I'm home yelling at my kids.
Yeah,
exactly.
His kids are still running around.
Yeah. By the way, I like when you talk about the stopper and you're like, you lose these things. I'm like, it's because you have 5 children.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've lost it all. I've
much.
lost it all at this point.
So anyway, but yeah, we
Two
do
questions.
have a.
First of all, what time on Saturday? And so, Alex, we have been talking in the group, in the UnCorked group, about trying to find a component tasting to do. Is that something you could do?
So I'm going to send you an email and try to get you. I want you to elaborate on that a little bit more. You said a component tasting?
So many years ago, we did a component tasting at a winery in Virginia.
Oasis Winery in Virginia.
And so it was a 3-part tasting. We started with a component tasting. So we tasted distilled water with acetic acid, distilled water with sugar, distilled water with organic acid, all the different components of the wine. Then we tasted a bunch of wines by themselves, and we rated them and talked about them. And then we did a wine and food pairing. So we tasted so there was a smoky food, a spicy food, a sweet food, a creamy food. And we tasted each wine with the same food. So we really learned across the board flavors really mean and where they are in your mouth, and why one wine goes with a smoky food and another wine doesn't.
That's super interesting. Yeah, and I'd actually never heard of a class like that, but it's just by sort of isolating all those things, you're able to really hone in. That's a super cool idea. And look, we are the type that we don't say, we pretty much say everything's possible.
We're gonna steal that idea.
But what I would tell you is we've done some pretty interesting events in that vein, and I would love to get the alumni wine group together for an idea like this, right?
That'd be kind of cool.
One that we did a blending competition once where we had, it was, I think, 18 people that came. We broke them into teams of 6. We gave them 4 different wines from different barrels. And we gave them beakers and these graduated cylinders, and they got to make the best blend they could. The only rule was there had to be some of each wine in there, any percentage. But that was the rule. And of course, you can imagine the competitive nature starts coming out in something like this, because then everybody presents their blend to me, I make them, and then everybody tastes them blind and picks a winner. So that was fun. And then we've also for over 2-3 years, I think, we did wine essentials classes here regularly. And there was an exercise we would do where you'd get a plate with like honey and hot sauce, a piece of kale, a piece of brie and a piece of salami, and then we would pour you 4 different wines, and you would taste these different, like there'd be a sweet, a dry red, a sparkling, and a dry white, and you'd try them with all these different, components. So it's kind of in the vein of what you're talking about, but yeah, I like that idea. That's super cool.
I think your best competition is when we had a group come in when we were bottling, and we did a contest on how many people could bottle and case our wines, and it cut our time in half.
We're
like, Alex is like, let's see how many cases you guys could do in 20 minutes. And I'm like, so they're going to be doing our job, basically. I'm like, I like this idea. Yeah. And they were like all competitive, and they're like quirky, and I'm like, we need to do this. Every time we bottle, we're going to bring 2 teams in.
These ideas have merit, okay? Just going to put that out there.
And I think, honestly, stuff like this would be an absolute blast for the wine club.
Yeah. We're open. We're up to, hey, you know what? When Matt Tree came to us and asked if we can keg our wine, we said absolutely. And kegging wine became huge. It was just something we never thought about doing, and it took off. Canning for FC, that took off. And so we're always open to like any idea.
Absolutely.
That brings us back to the wine preservation, like the best wine preservation thing we have is the keg.
Oh
yeah.
And so like I have a little cooler at home with a little dual top, and one side has beer and one side has our wine. Matter of fact, I have Rouge on top now, and I just pour a carafe, and then we drink that, and it goes really quickly.
It's a 1/6 barrel, so it's 138.
Yeah, 27
glasses.
bottles.
27 bottles.
It's supposed to last like a few months, but
4 months.
it doesn't
It's
last
like
that long.
the Tootsie Roll. Like, how many licks does it take to get to the center? Like, nobody knows.
No.
How many?
no, Just
4 months. It doesn't last that
Yeah,
long.
how long can it last is different than how long will it last.
Right. It's just the CO2 basically compresses the Mylar bag in the middle, and just so your first pour is just as fresh as last. So if you do go to Ryan Geist or Mad Tree, Braxton, Grainworks, even places like Mita's or even Abigail Street have our wine on draft. Sacred Beast, yeah. We list all these on our website. If you ever go to rebelotr.com, we list all the places you can get our wine by the glass or as grab and go, like carry out. So,
And we definitely want you guys to know too, we ship wine as well to multiple states. So you can, even if you're on vacation, we might be able to send you wine.
That's an idea.
We actually have a music festival we go to in Las Vegas, and we rented a house, and we're like, so how far in advance do we need to ship the
our
wine
so it's there?
So it's there when we get there. So yeah, that's
Hey,
we had to
we eat our own dog food, basically.
we do.
There are a lot of groups that are doing subscription wines for like a little bit off. So maybe you can make it an UnCorked or University of Cincinnati, but keep University of Cincinnati out of that, maybe, because, branding. And I think that would be something to think about.
Yes.
Nice box that you would want to keep that says, UnCorked with U and C, because I think that might be something of interest. Just saying.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, cool. Well, I know we're coming towards the end here. I want to make sure we thank you guys again. Thank you for Maggie for organizing this, and I think this was a great event for just to have the opportunity to share our stories is a huge opportunity for us. If you do have an opportunity to come in and to our facility, like I said, we're open Wednesday through Sunday, but also we deliver to your home. So just check out our site and we'll figure it out.
And we're always available, Facebook Messenger, just on our website. I mean, these guys are on it in terms of fielding questions and just, we like to interact with our customers and as much as possible.
So we're on everywhere but at Rebel OTR on, I call it Insta Twitter chat. You can just find us anywhere.
Rebel OTR.
Yeah, that's our. So we're always there, but no, we appreciate it. Seriously, this is awesome.
Cheers.
Yes,
Cheers.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and stay tuned and keep checking your emails for some upcoming summer events, and hopefully eventually towards the end of summer, we'll be able to gather together in person. Thank you again.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right.
See you guys. Take care. Cheers.
Gentlemen, great job. I enjoyed this immensely.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. We'll see you at the Jazz in the Park.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, I'll see you guys. Take
Take
care.
care.
Take care, everyone.
All right. That's got to be 8 worth here.